that I am advertising my next trip to Kenya in January of 2027. The trip starts January 23rd and goes through February 4th. And you can see all the details on my site. I've made a couple posts. I've posted on various social media. Ben Wittes talked about it today on the Bulwark podcast. Thanks, Ben, for the shout out there. I also want to address a couple things. I'm getting some questions from people that might want to go, but they're a little concerned about a few things. Um, some people have expressed doubt that maybe they have the health or the strength enough to go. It's really not that physically taxing if you can handle some bumpy roads. We had a lady on this last trip who was in her 70s and has Parkinson's disease, and she did okay. The main challenges were getting her into the small plane that we used for a couple legs. And other than that, we made sure she was close to the common areas of the different lodges. And yeah, she did great. So if you're concerned, if you would like to go, but you're concerned about that kind of thing, just reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. The flyer that I've posted in various places has some facts, frequently asked questions. So you can look at those in terms of safety and health and diet and things like that. But I think people get a little phobic about Africa, and I just want to reassure you that we'll take very good care of you. And yeah, things can, travel is always a risk, but Kenya is a pretty safe country and a really beautiful country and a warm and welcoming country. And if you're just feeling afraid and trepidatious about it, um, I'd love to talk to you. Just reach out. I'd love to talk to you and make sure you feel comfortable about it. Um, so it's a little adventurous, but it's really not even that adventurous. I can also um, put you in touch with some of the people who've gone before who maybe have similar concerns that you might have had. Um, but yeah, I believe so strongly that if you can at all afford to go to Africa, please go to Africa. You're really missing out, and you'll know what I mean when you come with me. You'll see why I am completely head over heels in love with the country that I was raised in. I've never gotten over it at all. I have to keep going back over and over again. And then the other plug I want to say about these trips is that I don't make any money off these trips. In fact, it usually costs me a little money, although my partner, Moses, my safari guide friend, um, you know, does try to cover most of my expenses, but there's always incidental things that I end up paying. So it actually costs me some money. It definitely doesn't make me any money, and I do this for two reasons. Number one, I adore Kenya and I love introducing people to this amazing country. I find so many Americans are just really don't know much about Africa at all, and they're really missing out. And I believe so strongly that travel in Africa is life changing. It really is. You will. The only risk is that you're going to be hooked, and you're going to want to keep going back. And it is far away. It's a little expensive. So I do it because I love Kenya. I want to give back. Tourism is one of their main industries, main sectors of their economy. So I want to give back more globally to the country in a way that is not condescending. I think tourism really honors a country. You're going there because you want to, not as a charity case. So it's a little bit of a different tenor than how a lot of Americans go to Africa. And then I want to give back specifically to my friend Moses, who is an ordinary Kenyan, comes from a very humble background, worked as a safari driver for many years, and then a few years ago had the dream of starting his own company. And so I've basically committed to helping him as much as I can, bringing people there, boosting his business as much as I can because I so believe in him as a person and as a guide. He's just really the best I've encountered. He's also just so much fun and you'll just love him and his team as well. They're just phenomenal people and I've got to know his family and I've seen, what a great father and husband he is, what a great Kenyan he is. He has given me a tremendous gift by always welcoming me home and making me feel like Kenya is my home. And so it is an honor and a privilege to partner with him and to bring new visitors to Kenya and to build his business. Um, so that's really the only reason why I do this is just out of pure love and just complete, really head over heels love with this beautiful country. Um, I also want to say a couple things about Kenya versus other safari destinations. I am a little bit biased, but for good reason. Um, so Kenya versus, say, South Africa. South Africa is very beautiful. It is more developed than Kenya, but it has a lot higher crime, gotta say. I'm always a little bit on edge when I'm in South Africa. I have spent a lot of time there. And also, they just, no shade to South Africa. I love South Africa as well, but the hospitality in Kenya really just cannot be matched. They've been doing this much longer. South Africa, of course, was largely closed to the international community for many years due to apartheid. So Kenya's been at this a lot longer and just really does have a naturally warm and welcoming culture. They actually remind me a lot of Americans. They're really outgoing. They love humor. They speak really good English, by the way, better than a lot of Americans. And yeah, it's just South Africa really can't compete on the hospitality front. Um, Tanzania is another big destination. And Tanzania is a lovely country as well. They haven't been at it as long as Kenya because Tanzania was a socialist country for many years and didn't have a very established tourism industry. The other thing I'll say about Tanzania is the Kenya has these diverse, unbelievably beautiful landscapes. And Tanzania, again, no shade to Tanzania, love Tanzania, but it's kind of very similar in landscape. Kenya has semi-desert, highlands, forests, mountains, the Rift Valley. The Rift Valley is at its most dramatic in Kenya. Lakes, has the savanna of Tanzania. Um, you can see Mount Kilimanjaro from some regions of Kenya. You can see Mount Kenya. We have another beautiful, massive mountain in the middle of Kenya that we see on these trips. Also, the weather in Kenya cannot be matched. Kenya is mostly high altitude where we are. The weather is literally one of the world's most perfect climates. We do go one location that gets a little warm in the north because it's more low lying, but generally speaking, we're at pretty high altitude, perfect weather. Tanzania is a little bit steamier, a little bit warmer, a little bit more low lying. I can't speak to Botswana because I've never been there. It looks great. I also know that it's incredibly expensive. Kenya is a really great value. The trip price, by the way, it's 6,400 for 12 days, and that's all your lodging, all your meals, all your driving, all your driver's fees, all the fuel, all the gas, the in-country flights, the park fees, basically everything except for there's a few Nairobi meals that you may have to purchase and tips, for the hotel staff if you want to do that. Um, and then, of course, your flight to and from Kenya. So it's a lot of money, but it's a great value. And it's certainly a better value than Botswana, in my opinion. Namibia is very nice. Again, I think it's a little more expensive. Haven't been there. I have been to Zambia. I don't think Zambia compares in terms of the wildlife, the abundance of wildlife. Kenya is just incomparable. It's really just the best if you combine all the different things. So please, if you have, I get it, it's expensive. You may not be able to afford it. That's fine. But if you are so blessed to have some extra money lying around and you're needing a vacation in the middle of winter, get away from the winter of America, and then please come with me to Kenya. um, like I said, I don't make any money. I do add to the trip. I started doing some talks last time, so I'm a real bona fide expert on Kenyan history and politics. I've studied it in graduate school. I covered it as CIA analyst. I speak Swahili. I grew up in Kenya. So Moses tells me I even teach him some things about his own country. Of course, he's a real Kenyan, unlike myself. So he's a great resource as well. And his knowledge of the animals and the birds and just all of the parks is just I can't even touch what he can do on that front. So we are a great team. So you won't just see great animals, you'll actually learn a lot about Kenya itself. And Kenya has really developed democratically, has developed economically. And, I think it's an exciting time to go to Kenya. They have an election next year. We're going to try to avoid the election season because that can get a little dicey, but you'll hear all about the election and maybe you'll get into Kenyan politics a little bit. And then when the election rolls around, you'll actually have some knowledge and interest in following that in August of 2027. So that's all I'm going to say today. I'll probably go live a couple more times. If you have any questions, please let me know. Send me an email, send me a message on any of the platforms that I'm on. And then maybe next time I'll try to answer some of those questions. Or if you want to talk to me personally, again, just message me. We'll get in touch and we'll have a conversation about it to see if this is something that maybe you can do. So, Karibu Kenya, that's welcome to Kenya. Hope you'll join me in January. All right, bye bye everybody.